that's why I said we have this decision.
It might be in our interest to insert this.
Well, I think it's in everybody's interest to make sure that if town meeting wishes to move forward with it, that they have a structure which works. And again, I don't recall as far as the friendly amendment here that I just suggested, but I didn't suggest basically the employee youth services director, which would be appointed by the town administrator, which would make it a town employee. You don't have to specify that. Okay. As far as upon the recommendation of the youth services committee, that isn't specified for recreation director, that isn't specified for Hillview, that isn't specified for anybody else. It's just what happens. Most of the screening takes place at the committee or commission level anyway, and then.
I'm sure you know the way it should be said, and I just know what I'd like it to mean, and if you can put it in the right words, I would be.
So let's just remove that part.
Yeah, if you just remove it, again, if you just, who shall be appointed by the town administrator, period.
All right.
That's it. And then what happens is the town administrator always appoints people to screen the applicants and all the rest anyway.
Big on that.
Can I ask if the town administrator is okay with the language? Is that okay, you?
Yeah, I mean, yep, that's fine, that's fine.
And you have the wherewithal to get this inserted?
Well, I'll make you wait until I do it tonight.
Yeah, okay, sure, that's fair.
Yeah.
You hear that? We have to wait. Okay, can I entertain a motion?
Well, this would then become Article 26.
Right.
Okay, so I would move to insert
Yes.
the new Article 26, establish a youth services committee as put forth by the town administrator for consideration with stated modifications.
Mr. Bean, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Dardino. Mr. Bino asked for.
On the motion, so if we vote to recommend this, we are recommending to make a new town employee.
No.
Yeah, no, that's what I just heard, that somebody.
No, what
We're recommending to put it in as a warrant.
What I'm looking to do, Joe, is just make sure that this is inserted so that if town meeting wishes to, what they're gonna act on first, based upon the number of the articles, is the study committee. If they go for the study committee, they're not gonna go for the rest of them. Generally, they'll just pass them over. I don't think, or maybe they could go both. But if they go for the youth services study committee, then the consensus may be, okay, let's hold off till April and decide what we're gonna do. But if they vote that down, and they want to move forward, at least we've got a mechanism in place that Larissa was proposing to do, but is structurally sound. Because the original article isn't, it's flawed.
I just want to be clear on this now. So if the Board of Selectmen recommend this, they are recommending to put this before town meeting?
That's the
Yes.
vote right
Yeah,
now.
we're gonna put it before town meeting for their consideration, and my suggestion would be to put it before the citizens petition, so that if it passes, you just pass that one over.
But I really do think that the general public out there feels that if we recommend an article, we're in favor of it.
Again, we have the little caveats underneath, little explanations. I think in the explanation, it could state that the Board of Selectmen is inserting this to augment the citizens petition.
Yes, I think that should definitely be done, because I know when the general public looks at an article and it says recommended by the Board of Selectmen, they're going to assume that the Board of Selectmen, at the time of voting this, was in favor of making this a town employee. That's
The way I view this is, there's a 3-2 vote against this article by the Board of Selectmen in favor of the
right.
Article 25.
I
But
just
So that's
want
the
to
way
be
it's
clear.
being presented, but we're voting now to
to
include it as a
insert,
warrant.
Right.
We're not voting to
This
approve
It's going to say
it, only whether or
recommended
not
by
to be
Board.
in there. No, it isn't.
Yes,
Then
it
we're
is.
voting
It's
against.
excuse me, it's going to say recommended by Board of Selectmen.
It's going to say sponsored by the Board of Selectmen.
It's sponsored.
Sponsored by.
So when will we vote on the
Recommendation should
recommendation?
be given at town meeting.
No,
Again, I think we can make the recommendation after Article
No, I
25.
think we ought to make the recommendation now. Why shouldn't we make the recommendation
because the
now?
recommendation now would be based on the vote.
Right.
Unless someone's
If
changed their
town-
mind,
if
three
town
to two against.
meeting-
3-2.
If town meeting says they don't want to do the study committee, then I would recommend this article, because this is the structure it should be in. You know, but as of right now, I'm in favor of the study committee, because I think that's the more measured approach to take. But there's a difference of
So
philosophy
we're
and
going to say the
opinion.
recommendation.
So the recommendation be given at
place
town meeting.
at town meeting.
Right.
Okay.
It's sponsored by the board, in order to
I
clarify.
wanna be clear
And again, the
so
reason
everyone
behind it
knows.
is to clarify the citizens petition and to,
Well, let's,
achieve-
first of all, let's recommend to put, to sponsor the article.
Yes.
And then I'll go one around, we'll ask the question, whether recommend, not to recommend, or recommend a town meeting, okay? So all in favor of inserting, this will be Article 26?
26.
Say aye.
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 You asking? No.
Okay, I just want to know.
That's all right.
Fiona wants to record the vote.
No, and again, that's one approach we're gonna take, is just don't leave it all alone.
All right, now, with respect to whether we want to recommend, not recommend, or recommend at town meeting this article. Have a motion, someone?
I would recommend, make recommendation to town meeting.
Are we just saying what we feel, or are we voting?
No, it's based on.
Well, we have to print, we're gonna print something in the warrant, either recommend, not recommend, or recommend at town meeting.
Recommend at
I
Those
mean,
are our
I
options.
think we've got a number of provisions here, let's recommend or not recommend.
Phil, it's gonna be based on the
Yeah,
vote on the
something
youth
like that.
services study
Well,
committee.
that's not my point of view,
No.
I don't think so.
Well, I think we have a consensus that it's to be recommended at town meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. All right, we've cleared that, gentlemen, ladies, thank you.
So that means on the
Thank you,
other,
Mr. Hanlon, for hanging in there.
that means on the other provision, we already recommend, we're already gonna, we're gonna recommend that?
Oh, yes.
We've got the
No,
other three
revolving
provisions.
accounts, again, same thing.
We've
I
got
have
the
no-
other three provisions, what are we gonna do with
The
that?
revolving,
Two
okay.
provisions.
First of all, we're gonna recommend to pass over their first article, right?
Well, will the citizens' petitions come in after these articles?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll already know what's happening with this by the time we get to that.
Right.
And if we've already
Oh,
had
we're
a
gonna
vote on this,
we're reordering those?
Yeah, the only potential conflict, and I'm gonna go back and do it, is there's another odd petition article in here that's got nothing to do with the Youth Services Committee. It's got to do with rezoning, and as it's structured right now, that's right in between of all of this stuff. So what I'd like to do is just simply move it up.
All right,
Instead of having, usually all petition articles are dealt with together,
yeah.
but really in this case, that article, rezoning article needs to move in front of all of this. Because otherwise, it's gonna be right in the middle of your discussion if you want to wonder why it's there.
So you're gonna be at the end of the article, at the end of the warrant.
I would like to thank the town administrator and selectmen for the time they've given us for this consideration on behalf of the board.
Right, so,
We have to give you credit for being persistent. A lot of credit.
no, as far as the other articles, we've got the citizens petition, which
Right. Recommendations to be made at town meeting.
we recommended at town meeting, and the same thing with the other two, which, if it's passed, you said revolving funds anyway.
Yeah, I mean, either way, they're revolving.
But I think this, of course, recommendation all town
Take 2 minute
meetings.
break. All right, 2 minute break. Scratch. Yeah.
Joy? Yeah, oh, I think you did.
My wife says.
She does.
Okay, Mr. Hanlon,
Yes,
give you an opportunity to,
yes, I want to address you tonight on the remaining articles relating to public works. And that, those two are the funding for the Berry, where is it down here?
12.
12,
So
thank
it's probably
you.
13
Thank
in
you.
ours.
12, yeah, it was 13, right? Greg and I received an email today from Kathleen O'Donnell on the wordage, and Greg was gonna tweak it for you this evening, but it's to replace what was 13, which is now 12, with the language that allows us to spend those monies associated with a project manager and overlay, oversight to the project. The good news also is the contract's been signed, and according to the finance director, that would satisfy the funds being available.
right,
So we're in good shape.
it's been signed by us,
Yeah,
but
but
it has to be still signed by.
Kathleen is gonna track it. I called her immediately when I got the copy sign, so she's going to kill traffic for us.
What Dave is talking about is the $350,000 incentive fee that we earned as a result of passing the 40R.
Right, now the 350, yeah.
And 350.
And the 350, again, is to be used for any combination of oversight that demands additional resources to the town during the project and/or capital improvements, small capital improvements that be necessary on the site.
And that's supplemented by the 150 from
Yes, the
Lincoln, is
additional
that-
125 for a total of 475. That 125 will be a check by Lincoln in advance of permits, but actually the way the article will be set up, it doesn't matter whether we get it on or before or after. Doesn't matter, won't matter. So that's addressed. The other was also, part of the email was a warm and fuzzy that you were looking for in terms of the legal opinion associated with the expenditure of the first round and ultimately the second round of the $1.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of further, the question was, does town meeting need further action to spend? And the answer is no. It was all inclusive of
And there's
the,
no article.
is all inclusive of the overlay zoning. That was all inclusive. And the fact that that's a gift from Lincoln and ultimately Gutierrez or whoever opts on that property, and it's specifically because of the IG's Third Amendment, that it has to be for wastewater purposes, it's done. So as soon as that, the sale is made in November, that's our hope, the $750 comes right into the account and we go forward with those expenditures. Which leads to the next article, which is the eminent domain of the New England Power property.
Which we voted in favor of, recommended.
And you're good to go. And
It's a 4-to-1 vote.
yeah. And unless you need to see, again, the mapping that we've done that I presented to you before.
I don't know, has anybody, like, have you seen that? The parcel that we want?
Yeah, I mean, it'll only take me a few more minutes.
Yeah, basically.
I don't mind.
It's New England Power.
I don't mind. The question came up at the wastewater advisory committee in terms of making sure town meeting understood that the $1.5 million, what does it do? Some folks perhaps think that that's going to buy a plant. A plant in today's dollars would be about $13 million. And we have a gap. Essentially, we have a gap between what the buried will provide us on-site, coming to and off, and then getting it over to under Martin's Pond and access this piece of this wedge right here, this New England property. This is what we want to acquire. We've also met with the General Mail facility since I saw you last. They're still open, and when we have this land appraised, we're also going to have this back piece appraised. We had been interested in that before as well, and they're interested in perhaps selling that off to us as well. This is all landlocked land, so we don't have a targeted number. But essentially, the breakdown of the first $750,000 will be used for general engineering to help us with the MEPA process and the permitting. That's a good chunk of dough. That could be in the vicinity of $300,000. And then the remaining monies to acquire one or both of these properties. And then lastly, what monies are available left from this first round to implement the infrastructure itself. Remembering that we want to try to get we want to get piping from the limits of their construction. We want to get piping included. If it can get off the side of the road, then it would be a moot issue. But if we can't, we want to get it incorporated now into, this is the leaching area that's reserved for us. And then as well, get it underneath Martin's Brook over here through the water facility and then ultimately into the New England Power property that we would acquire, which is the prime location for the plant.